All right. All right. Good evening, everyone. So, I want to welcome you all to Silent No More, the podcast. And we are talking about the Alphas being back. So, those of you who were with us a couple of weeks ago, you knew all about or you heard all about alphas in, their space and relationships and all the things. And so, we're going to continue that conversation. But let me tell y'all what happened. Okay. So I was just in another space. I was a panelist for an NAACP, a virtual event, and it went fabulously. And normally I'm like right on top of everything, and I'm able to get on here and have long conversations with everybody, and we can get a vibe and all the things. And that did not happen today. So I feel like, I need to take a deep breath and woosah. But in the meantime, in between time, um, I got a text, and in that text, it was some information about some stuff that is going on or has gone on in, the community in which I serve and I work. And so um, I want to remind you all that you have charge of your space, and it is vital that you protect your peace at all costs. And I understand and I know that sometimes people do things and they don't mean any harm by it. But if it causes your peace to be distracted, then it's not worth your time, your energy, or your space. And I give you all that tonight. It's very important because we only have one life to live, and we might as well make the best of the life that God has granted us to have. So protect your peace at all time. If there are times that you have to collaborate with someone that has energy that's off, or if there's times you have to pour into someone who may just need your advice, that needs you to pour into them, do that. But at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road, you have to live with your own thoughts. You have to live with your own peace, and you have to be great the way God expects and intends for you to be great. Okay. So that's what I give you all tonight. Protect your peace, and at all costs, be who God has destined you to be in your level of peace and greatness, because there's greatness in every one of us. So without further ado, I am going to introduce our panelists because they have some mighty fire to share with you, okay? So hopefully you can get some fluff and some stuff to move forward in who you are, owning your alpha-ness, or if you're not an alpha, owning your space in the life of the alphas that are around you, and we can coincide and be great together. And so we only have one man today. And if y'all know, last time we met, I kind of had to stop the show and be like, hey guys, there are guys here. we can't over we can't over talk the fellas, okay? We have to give them space to have their moment as well. And so I'm going to introduce our male panelist first, and he's going to introduce himself, and then we'll get to the other ladies. So they'll have a few seconds a few moments to introduce themselves, share a little bit about themselves. You know Jeremy, he's been on the podcast before, but the other two panelists you may not know. So I want them to share who they are, how you can connect with them, what they do, what services they provide, what products they may provide, and then we'll get into the conversation.
Hello. How you doing, Monica? Thank you for
Danny.
having me. My name is Jeremy Taylor. I am a native of Evansville, Indiana, and I just relocated back within the last 8 years to Evansville, Indiana. I am a pastor. I'm currently attending IWU, which is Indiana Wesleyan University, where I'm getting my MDiv. So I'm getting my Master's of Divinity. And then I'll be moving on to get my doctorate at Morehouse, is what I'm looking to do in the near future. Also, here in the community, our church offers a food pantry twice a week. We have after school programs for kindergarten all the way up to eighth graders that are functional all week long. I do a little bit of life coaching. I also train dogs. And then in my spare time, I like to play chess or play basketball and work out. If you want to get in contact with me, you can contact me. You see it on the screen, Jeremy with an I, Jeremi. And then Taylor, you can find me on Facebook or Instagram.
All right. So when you said I woo, I thought you were speaking in tongues. I didn't know what was happening. I'm like, I woo. Okay, I woo too. I woo too. You do. I woo.
That's
We
why I
woo.
made that
We woo.
distinction.
We all woo. We woo. Next, we have Ariana.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Tell us about yourself.
Hello, everyone. I am Ariana Roche. I am a musician and a part-time relationship and dating coach. And soon I will be getting into life coaching. I'm all about empowerment, and God has placed me in my purpose, and I'm living it. So far, I have 3 children. I'm raising, so I'm a mom. I studied pharmacy at Sullivan. I'm taking a break right now because I'm also a mail lady. So
you do
I'm
all the
doing
things.
that. I'm doing that full time. I'm working with the young adult ministry at my church at Bakes. So I'm just busy, So hopefully you can get a couple insights and information as far as what I coach with clients that I work with. And we're going to have a good night. Nice to meet you guys. Thank you for having me on, Monica.
Absolutely. So just to share a little bit about Ariana, to be honest, I had maybe 15 people to inbox me or to recommend other people. And I went to her page, and this is what sold me, because not everybody in our community know what a high value man is. So when you say high value, they think a man with values. I want a high value man. And you probably do. But there's a difference between a man with values and a high value man. And when I went to your page, you unpacked it in like 2 sentences. I said, oh, yeah, she knows what she's talking about. Because not everybody knows.
And that's one thing. I also help men dating in relationships. So I know we got a man on here, but I'm all for our men today, because we do not have a lot of women or just even other men speaking for you guys. So that is really what my content is more of.
All righty. And last but definitely not least, we have Miss Cynthia.
Hey, Cynthia.
Hello.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So yeah, alpha female is the epitome of that. I believe that we should be able to stand on our own no matter what the man is bringing to the table, and I live that fully. So I am the owner of 2 businesses, but I'm also a sales expert and marketing expert. I've been doing pharmaceutical sales for about 15 years, and that's fun and all, but my passion really lies with entrepreneurship. So I run a business called the Diverse Entrepreneurship Summit. DESummit.org is where you can visit us. And we help small businesses, minority business owners with everything from funding, mentoring, providing resources and workshops once a year to the Louisville and regional community. And then secondly, I run a business called Develop the West. And you can see us at developthewest.org, but it's all about promoting and emphasizing generational wealth. So how do we create wealth in the west end of Louisville? How do we continue to keep our homes? How do we get more equity in our homes? And then how do we create this generational wealth path for our children? So
I was watching the news. Thank you for being on the show. I was watching the news a couple of weeks ago, and they were talking about a program that they have in the West that's just now starting, where they're promoting home ownership in an unconventional way. Are you connected with that program?
There's several. So I actually started with the land bank.
That's it.
Dollar property. Listen, and that program is morphed a little bit. So it's went away for a little while, but they're revamping it. And what you saw is the announcement of the revamp. Get on it. I cannot tell you how valuable it is to get those properties out of the land bank. You be your own developer. It's built-in equity.
Don't shout me.
Listen. We claiming it right
now. Hold my milk, Pastor. I'm about to let it go. Yeah. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to connect after this.
Yes,
I'm all about generational wealth.
Yes.
Okay, I'm all about that. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, princesses, and peasants, we're talking about the alphas being back. Okay, so the last time we talked about the characteristics of an alpha male and alpha female, what that looks like. And just for the members of the audience that may not have been able to tune in last time, would anyone like to chime in on what the characteristics are of an alpha male and an alpha female, just to get us started.
I nominate. Yeah, there you go, Ariana. I
There
nominate
you
you.
go.
You did it in 2 sentences on your page, so have at it.
Oh, you know,
You have to
wait.
unmute your
You're
microphone.
muted. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Okay,
Yeah.
great. I'll start with on the male side, and then one of you guys can go with the females on the alpha side. They're pretty similar but different. First, a man's natural swag, the grooming about themselves. How do they take care of themselves? Their appearance. Appearance is everything when it comes to being an alpha male. Second, self-improvement. Their image, they're confident, and they're intelligent, and they're assertive. That is very important. Number 4 is their body right, knowing their purpose and their strategies. When a man knows their purpose in life, it makes them I wouldn't say high value, but of value. You know, their morals, and the biggest issue with men and alphas, alpha males don't go to the club to meet other women. They go to the club to check out other alpha males to see how they can do better. Alpha males are always trying to be better and go to the next steps in their purpose in their life. So I'll start there.
So where can I go to meet these alphas? I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing.
I got you.
I'm kidding.
I will say,
I'm kidding a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding though, for real.
I want to say church, Monica, but they're not at church anymore.
No. We're the alphas at church. We are definitely the alphas at church.
We are the alphas that are at church. Our
Yes.
alpha males are not there.
No, they're not. They're not. Jeremy, did you want to add to that?
No, she did wonderful.
She did do wonderful.
She
Yes.
did an amazing
Thank you,
job.
Cynthia.
I agree.
I'm a little nervous, so bear with me.
You're fine. One thing that I have experienced with an alpha male who is secure
Yes.
is that when they're looking for, and I'm talking about the traditional relationship. I know there are different people who love different people, and I'm open to that. But I'm talking about traditionally speaking, when a man is looking for an alpha male is looking for a particular woman, they already have their sights set on what they want. They're set on that. They can communicate that effectively, and when they tell you what they desire, believe them.
Yes.
I was reading the book by Steve Harvey, and he said, kind of like what Maya Angelou said, when a person tells you who they are, believe them. But he said, when a man tells you what they want from you, believe them, especially if they're an alpha male, because they have nothing to lose, and they have the epitome of confidence. And so if you're not the one that can provide what I need or what I want, somebody will. And so a secure alpha, not a narcissist, but a secure alpha wants to be, let's go there, wants to make sure that the person that they select to be in their life is also someone that they can protect, that they can provide for, but they can also nurse to health if necessary. And I mean, like, in a healthy space, a healthy relationship. So they're not afraid, unless the person is toxic, they're not afraid of ushering a woman into her femininity, or ushering a woman into the space that's healthy for both of them. They're completely secure. That's something else that I've noticed about alpha men. What about alpha females?
I'd like to start on that. I think alpha females get a bad rap. And I'm going to say why. A lot of times, alpha females are portrayed as these overly aggressive, overly assertive, train doesn't stop, momentum is high energy, multitasking frantically. That's not necessarily representative of an alpha female. Can hold it down, holding a pot of boiling water, cooking macaroni and cheese with a child on her hip, and also bringing in the bacon. That, to me, represents the stereotypical epitome of like an alpha woman. But essentially, what I've noticed in being an alpha woman myself is that alpha women really want the opportunity and for her man to provide the capability for her to be more soft and to be less of that. And a lot of times a woman has to fall into that place because she's had to, not necessarily because she desires to. We grow into this role of an alpha female. A lot of times it's not naturally who we are.
Yeah, I completely agree holistically, because the last person that I spent time with for a couple of months, I am an alpha. I'm a leader at my school. I am what someone may consider a boss chick. When I get home, I don't want to have to. Now, I don't mind cooking, but if we're going to go out, if we're going to do, I don't want to have to make those decisions. You know what I mean? Like, I just do not want to do that. And I've actually verbalized that, because let me be soft now. You know, I've had to make decisions. I've had to write folks up. I've had to take care of all the things at work. Let me just decompress. And I don't want to have to do that here. I want to still be able to be who I am, walk my femininity, make decisions if I have to, but don't put that on me. I completely agree with that. Did you want to add something else, Cynthia? Did you want to add something else to that?
No, that's pretty much, from what I see and what I've been allowed to experience in my alpha female, being able to have the capacity to venture and, pursue things and grow and develop and not feel that threatening relationship, that threatening kind of thing between men and women that sometimes is felt when a woman either makes more, does more, is overly productive.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just naturally, who we are. So yeah, that's all.
Yeah. Jeremy, being an alpha male, because you definitely are an alpha male, what are your views on alpha females?
Well, for me, because when you're alpha male, you do have supreme confidence. So you feel like there's nothing that I can't achieve, because you spend a lot of your time, I guess, being strategic about being successful at who you select and knowing what you're looking for. So my view of an alpha female has evolved the more that I've spoken with alpha females. And I think some of the issue that even alpha women are running into is that there's not a lot of alpha males that they're coming in contact with. So now you're not with the alpha, so you're coming in contact with the man that's running in the pack. And they're naturally intimidated, and you are having to make those decisions even though you don't want to, but they've never experienced being an alpha male. So now they are leaning on you to make those decisions. And you'll see posts or you'll see people gripe about, I feel like a woman will never make a decision on what she wants to eat. Right? I mean, that's the running joke. But however, a man who's an alpha male normally already has in mind what he wants to do to cater to his woman. He's already got it worked out. He'll have a surprise for her when she gets off work because he understands she's been working all day. So he's going to always cater to her. And so my view of the alpha woman is that it's something to aspire to have, but you also have to understand how to communicate with the alpha female. Because when you get past those barriers, much like you said, Dr. Hunter, the conversation is easily had that, listen, now I'm ready to decompress and I want you to take the lead because I'm tired of leading today. And you can trust that man with that information because he's not going to be a narcissist. He's not going to manipulate you. In fact, he actually enjoys having an alpha woman that can do what she needs to outside of the household, then come home and both of you willingly submit to one another. Because even as an alpha man, you have to learn how and when to say, okay, now let me yield to her because this is where she's strong at. And maybe this is my weakness. Or I don't mind modeling for her how to submit. Like you said, ushering her into that position where she has no problem trusting you. So it's really a balancing act that you learn once you come in contact and listen to key phrases and things that they share that will allow for you to understand this is the alpha female, or it's a woman that's become an alpha female. So now subconsciously she's doing things that an alpha female does, maybe not even realizing it. And so for me, I'm comfortable dealing with an alpha female. I understand the female, um, as long as they're willing to learn and understand their role and my role. Because if not, you can clash and butt heads, and it can become a little bit. I'm not going to say toxic because that's too strong, but there will be a lot of learning one another, and then maybe there will be times where you collide with your perspective. But if you learn how to communicate effectively, then you still know that this is not an argument, it's just a discussion.
So you don't mean like traditional roles. You mean once you come together, you learn each other, you define what roles you will abide
Yes,
by.
tradition changes, right? So currently, what we're doing at some point will become tradition. It's now tradition for people to be doing podcasts ever since COVID hit. Everything shifted. So now we are setting new traditions and trends that on down the road will be commonplace. It'll be the way the culture just operates. So I can't dig all the way back in the bag of Old Testament thinking, or the time when women were not to be outside the home working and think, well, that's what our relationship's going to be. I'm digging my heels in, and I'm not changing. No, even as an alpha male, you have to evolve and understand the roles of women has changed drastically. And I'm so happy because now there's a certain level of freedom that women have, but you still see the culture is trying to put a chokehold on what women can do. Hence, you look at even Roe versus Wade, so to speak. So now you're still taking away women's ability to make decisions about their own body.
Okay, I just wanted to clear that part up because when you talk about traditional roles and I'm gonna buy the bacon, but you're gonna fry it, woman. I just want to make sure that we had a clear understanding that that's not what you meant. But you're talking about whatever roles are introduced and expected in your space is what you all will follow. So, do you want to add anything to that, Ariana?
No, he hit it right on. Actually, I do. I want to add on what he said with the submissive. If you lead me spiritually, I will submit naturally. Women need someone to lead by, and women are supposed to be a man's helpmate. Be their helpmate. Work, like he said, come together and work together, and we build up together. That's fine. So he really hit it 100%. I totally agree.
Who was the artist that just said, oh, what was it Jill Scott that said something about I won't do what you say unless I do what you say, or I won't submit to you unless I submit to you, or say it was something like that. I had to find it, but it goes along the same lines as what you were saying. If you, and the Bible also, and I don't want to talk about the Bible and stuff, I always go into that realm, but it talks about
if you lead me, you would have to be able to lead me.
That's it.
Yeah.
I knew it was something.
Good job.
I knew teamwork makes the dream work. Yes. And that's powerful because I will submit, I will follow if I trust where you're taking me. If I can't trust where you're taking me as an alpha female, I can do everything for myself. I don't need you. Okay. As an alpha, I don't need you, but I desire to have you in my space. If I can trust you to lead me, because I'm more comfortable in that area. I'm an alpha, like Cynthia said, because sometimes we have to go into that space because of the way we were reared, because of our upbringing, because of society, because of survival mode, because of our demographics. We have to do that work because we have to do it. But if we don't have to, where you lead me, I will follow unbegrudgingly as well. So I was going to say something else. I forgot what it was. Next thing, let's talk real quick because this was very intriguing. When I went to Ariana's page and she was talking about the high value man. What can you unpack what that is for the audience, please? Because most high value men are alphas. I don't know of any high value men. Well, there might be a few that aren't, but most high value men are alphas. So can you unpack what that is for us, please, Ariana?
Oh, we can't lose on the good part.
Oh, no. It's the great part.
No, you have to go off the mic. I'm so sorry.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. There you
Okay.
are.
She's back. There she's back.
Hey, okay, go ahead.
So the question was, can you unpack what a high value man is? Because I was having a conversation with my friends. It was a couple of years ago. And I was talking about a high value man. And we were texting each other. And I don't know if the information got lost in the sauce, but I was talking about a high value man. I said, I don't need a high value man. I would be okay with someone who can compliment me, but I don't need a high value man. And so their response was, no, I need a high value man because I mean, he doesn't have to make this much, but I said, no, you need a man with high values, not a high value man. There are two different things. Those are two different things. So can you tell the audience what a high value man is, please?
I will. And you're exactly right. Those are two different men. And I will tell you, a lot of women do not qualify for a high value man, but they do qualify for a man of value. It's different. My value guys are just like this other 62% of males that are making 40K a year, and that is okay. You know, a lot of us were looking at Instagram and Facebook and media. Ooh, I want me a rich man and he got to make all this. But do you qualify for him? As women, if we want that, we have to make sure we're qualified, because that comes with a whole different ball game. And according to if you're beautiful, feminine, and inspirational, and a helpmate and a wife. See, a lot of us was not trained to be wives. You know, that's what they want. But I will explain what a high value man is. One, and do not get upset with me, guys, please, because I put this on before I go. I'm going to put a disclaimer. This is my opinion. I put it on Facebook and I had over 73 shares, and women were coming at me hard.
They don't understand the difference.
Yeah, the difference. So a high value man in an economic dating standpoint, one, he is making at least 120K a year or 10K a month. His finances. Two, he is very consistent with his business or the company that he works for at least 3 to 5 years. Three, he has a group of substance. That means other high value men value him and they look up to him. He's that alpha male that everyone looks up to. Four, his network, whether he has investors or he has plugs. That is very important. Five, his visibility, his position, and how do other people look at him as income, and is he linked? Income linked, that's very important. And lastly, I can't say it. Is his usefulness. Is he his utility? I'm sorry.
You're fine.
You're fine.
Can we utilize this man as far as his honor, his integrity, his loyalty to others? That is a high value man. But a man of value is different. One, his morals. Two, how he carries himself. Of course, he does have an income, but he may not have 6 figures, but he has just enough to make ends meet, and that is okay. You know, his job, if he has children, he values that. If he has a wife, he values that. He's in church. I don't really get into religion too much, but it goes into it if you are a religious person. He's real strong with God or whoever he believes in. He prays with his woman. He picks women strategically and logically, and he's into her mindset. That is the difference. So if you have any questions for me, I'm more than welcome to answer those. But those are the main, I hit it mainly on what a high value man is, and a man of value is different. And people came for me like, that's not a high value man. And why do you got to make this much? He really does. High value men, they're in a whole different tax bracket. They look at a whole different type of women. They like to date a whole different type of women. Men of value, yes, they pick their women strategically, but it's different.
So it was a few years ago, not even a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago. There was this fella that I met, and he was a really nice guy, and he owned a fleet of semi trucks. And so he owned his first semi that he purchased. He drove it. It was one of the gasoline trucks, and he made like 350. He profited $350,000 that year. He used that money because he had been in business for a little while to purchase multiple semi trucks, and he was working on a deal to purchase an apartment complex. And so he was talking about how he was a high value man, and he was an alpha male, but he was also a high value man. And he asked me what I was doing. Well, at the time, I was working on my doctorate. I had just gotten a new position as assistant principal at a different school, and I was working with my group of girls that we did like community events and such. And he said, "You're not the person for me." And I was like, "What?" He said, "I need someone that's willing to quit their job." He said, "You have too much stuff going on. I need someone that's willing to quit their job, be at home when I get home, take care of some of my clerical work, and travel with me." He was very specific. And I was like, well, maybe he's just talking a little bit. Maybe he doesn't mean that. Don't you know? Now, I wasn't interested because I'm not going to quit my job and stop doing all the stuff that I've worked so hard to do to be with him. But don't you know he ghosted me because I had too much stuff going on. Yes. And so my mom, she told me this about a year ago, and she said, "Monica, if you want a man, you're gonna have to dumb yourself down. You're gonna have to dumb yourself down because you're not gonna you have too much going on, and you say things and you confuse people sometimes, and it's just not gonna work out for." And I said, "Well, I don't know how to do that." But it was so crazy because he told me, he said, "You have too much stuff going on. I need a secretary and a cook is what I need." And after that was the end and the extent of and we had been talking for, it was a couple of weeks. But that was the extent of our courtship because I was not what he desired as a high value man. So Jeremy, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Jeremy, what are your thoughts on that?
Y'all gonna throw me into the fiery furnace for whatever reason. I think the strength of what he's saying is that he knows what he wants. Now, for a woman that has no problem doing that, I'm sure he'll find that somewhere because there's some women that don't want to they just want to do the bare minimum. They do want to be taken care of. They don't mind doing a little bit of clerical work because I'm able to travel with him. He's paying for everything. So it's not really for them a thing of dumbing themselves down. They'll fit right in. But are they going to challenge him mentally in areas where he really wants to be challenged? Because I still have to have a conversation with you. He may say he just wants a cook, and he may say he just wants somebody that does clerical work. But if she's too dingy or doesn't understand how to do that clerical work, that's going to frustrate him just as well. So there is some potency to him sharing what he wanted, but is that really what he needs? There's a difference even in that, and I think that that with that situation. I think it works out well because you know who you are. And because you know who you are, you know this isn't going to work for me. So you already detached because two alphas were communicating. I don't have time to waste. That's kind of like what it boils down to. So let me just get that out there now because as you said, we're both secure in what we have and what we bring to the table. So if you walk, that's okay. It bothered you because we stopped talking and you ghosted me before I could ghost you.
Because you know me, because I'm a ghoster.
You got beat to the punch, so it did
That's
something
what
to you.
upset me.
Oh, he beat you to the punch.
He did. Cynthia, what do you have to say?
Golly, there's so much to unpack there. I personally, I think the best relationships, no matter if it's an alpha male, high value male, man of value, is two people that independently don't necessarily need each other, but they desire each other. Like for me, that is the ultimate space. That man who you met, truck driver, got his fleet of cars, he may not need, I mean, you could hire, with the money he's making, you could hire a chef. Like, come on, what are we talking about here? It's the desire, right? It's the need to say, you know what, I'm choosing you and you're choosing me with everything that you bring to the table, with everything that you have going on. I still want that.
Yeah.
You know? So to me, I look for more of that and more of those people that are foundational. Character is a big deal for me right now. Character. Like, how are you treating the people around you? How do you handle conflict? I want to know your traumas. I want to know those things. I've learned over time to be softer in my approach from a dating perspective, but it's all about, for me, baseline connection. Because if the connection and the foundation's there, we can grow everything else. As a person who's divorced, I was married for quite a long time. I do realize that alpha female piece can come out. It can roar. It can get its ugly head. But I also learned in dating after marriage that, man, if you have a strong alpha male around you who provides the space and capacity for you to be your ultimate self, you naturally become more feminine. And then they desire you even more.
Yeah, I agree. There is a pastor on YouTube, R.C. Blake Jr. I just got introduced to him last week. And when I tell you I'm addicted, I'm addicted. And it's crazy because before watching him, because, you know, he wrote the book Queenology, and I think it was Father-Daughter Talk.
Yeah.
And so he talks about being a queen. And I thought that was cliche. I thought it was about the same as saying beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, hey, queen, hey. But when he broke down the Queenology, when he broke that down, it was like, wait a minute. Okay. All right. So when I do this, because as an alpha, a lot of times, and you talked about trauma too, as an alpha who has experienced trauma, we sometimes like to be or want to be viewed as having the epitome of strength. We are the epitome. We can't cry. We can't be vulnerable. We don't have time for that. We've got to do the next thing that's on our list of things to do for the day. We don't have time for that. But in essence, that is what a queen does. A queen is vulnerable. A queen does take the time to listen. A queen does take the time to understand. And so watching his videos, although it's just been about a week and a half that I was introduced to him, I've started to reflect on who I am in my kingdom as a queen, so I can walk in that the area of femininity while being strong at the same time and protecting my peace and protecting my space from men who may not be safe, who may be unsafe. And so what you said was dead on, Cynthia. It's important to look at their attributes, to look at their character, to look at their level of integrity, look at how they respond to their family members if you've been around their family. All that matters when we're inviting someone into our level of intimacy, into our personal space. All that is vital. Ariana, did you want to chime in? And let me unmute you because I think there's a little echo.
Okay. Is that better? Is that better? Is it still echoing? Okay. Okay, good. I'm actually agreeing with Cynthia. You hit it on the nose because she's right. It's all about how does he act around other peers and his colleagues and people he works with. That's something to be interested about because they're looking at how we interact with people. And like she said, something about trauma, that is very important. Like in a situation, how can you handle that? Can you handle it okay? Can we agree to disagree and still be cool at the end of the night? You know, that's very important. Some people see the first thing or the first red flag and they're ready to run. You know, we have a lot of lazy daters. The first thing I don't like, I don't want you anymore. You know, instead of looking at, we can work on it, communicate it. I tell a lot of my clients, if it's something you don't like, that you're dating somebody and they're doing something that is just a pet peeve for you, speak about it in the nicest way. It's a way we talk to people. I kind of didn't like the fact that you don't open up the door for me when we're out on a date. Could you open up the door? It can be something small as that. And it's your approach and how you're saying it. I apologize, babe. I will start opening up the door for you. Now it's not a problem. So to add on with what Cynthia said, how they communicate, that is important. Because I can't bring you around people I deal with and you don't know how to talk. Your vocabulary. You are a lot of alpha females. We're around a lot of business oriented people. And that's a different dialogue. Thank you.
Something else with alphas, I've noticed in reading and reflecting and looking at who I've been around, male and female, they're serious about their boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
They have boundaries. They're not afraid to communicate those boundaries, and they hold people in high regard when it comes to those boundaries. So let's see who wants to chime in on that, making sure that whenever you're going into, and it doesn't have to be something that you've been in for a while, from the very beginning, setting those boundaries. Why is that important? And why does that make you have why is that an attribute of being an alpha male or female?
I'll start.
Okay.
I'll say this, unless Jeremy, you want to take it. Okay.
Later.
So I'll say this. I think boundaries is the most critical way to show people how to treat you. Mm-hmm. And we're teachers a lot of times as alpha females and males. We're teachers. We like to learn, but we like to teach even more because we like to be in charge, right? So I think it's really important to use that in a way that is productive and conducive for your relationship. How do you do that? You put your boundaries up and you're clear. Mm-hmm. Clarity, to me, breeds connection. Because when two people are on the same page and they're clear about what they will and won't accept, it just creates for a stronger foundation and dynamic in the relationship. I'm a big believer of saying those things up front. I'm a big believer in addressing conflict head on. Mm-hmm. And I've seen all of those things help and support the growth of relationships, as I'm dating.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Jeremy?
I think that setting your boundaries early is a very diplomatic stance that you have to take. Because in essence, you're trying to protect what peace you have. And if I'm allowing you any of my time, I don't want that to be full of conflict, confusion, confrontation. So what I'm doing is I'm laying it all out there in the beginning so that you know exactly what I'm allowing you to get into. Because 9 times out of 10, alphas have, we have a lot of selections that we can make. And so we feel like I'm allowing you to be in my space and you should appreciate that as much as I appreciate you allowing me to be in your space. It's not even really a selfish mentality. It's more so I'm just letting you know what I'm expecting from you and what you should expect from me. So I expect if I'm going to the gym for you not to trip on me going to the gym, thinking that I'm trying to meet all these women or whatever you may have dealt with in the past. I don't have time for that. I'm actually focused because I have the next thing that I need to do. So when I'm here, I'm still in business mode. There's probably people that I'm networking with that I'm here at the gym because I'm at a private gym. And so everything that you do, it has value. So now you're saying, I want you to know exactly what the expectations are if you're going to be around me and when you're going to be around me. And then the times when I need to be alone, because that's when I'm actually working on the next thing or I'm decompressing and my mind is going. And so you disrupting that could get me off. And a lot of times I heard Minister Farrakhan say something that was very powerful. He was saying that what happens in most relationships with alphas, even though he didn't use the word alphas, but it applies. He was saying a lot of times when a woman's just sitting around not interested in what you're doing and they're not on the same level as you, well, all day long I've been focused on this. And so when you come in, you can't even communicate on my level. So now it's just a distraction. You take away from what I'm trying to do. So
Mm.
now I'm in a pointless relationship. And now you're messing my boundaries because you're not even equally uh, thinking the way I am or moving in the same direction that I am. And I think a lot of people have gotten in relationships like that. And so because you have nothing going on, you bring nothing to this. And that whole conversation was nothing. I'm not sitting around just watching reality TV that's full of drama and whatnot. Now, I might do it just for fun, but that's not what moves me. Just like you spoke about, you were watching something on the news. You're discussing the books that you've read, what you gleaned from and how it expanded this, and now you enlarge on that concept. Well, if you're dealing with somebody that doesn't enlarge on anything, how in the world can I share something with you and you can't even take that and even mold it and make it more, which is what women are great at. So when you have a lot of women that don't know their place or their purpose, then they don't know how to work with what you're trying to give them. And that goes either way because there's some men that can't work with what women are trying to bring to the table. I can't even send you to the grocery store to get the stuff that I need because you don't even know how to go in what aisle. I don't care that Walmart changed out all the aisles. You can't read the sign. Like, it's just the little things that become annoying. Are you serious? Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. That's absolutely right. So I want to
The
add to
little
that.
things.
Anybody want to share after that?
Definitely boundaries, and you want to step on it as soon as you can. Me personally, I would recommend the first date.
Mhm, mhm.
Maybe second date. You don't want to do too much, but yeah, definitely boundaries are very important because if you don't, you're going to end up being uncomfortable a lot. And you don't want to be uncomfortable. That's another thing, a lot of people don't speak about, when dating or in relationships. A lot of people are uncomfortable because they didn't express what they wanted out of this. And ask, for ladies, ask men what do they want and what does he want firsthand. So then you will know how to move. Not that you don't know how, just so you'll know what he wants because every man is different. They want different things. What you did with the last man, you're not going to get with this man. And don't take what you did with the last man into this man.
Yeah.
Not trying to preach too much, but that is the main issue that's going on. Like he said, people be in relationships and those relationships fail because they didn't have that one conversation. So set boundaries, make your goals, be upfront. This is what I want. If you come with children, a lot of men don't want to be stepfathers, but I know a lot of men that wouldn't mind because of the type of woman that she is. So if you have that going on, be upfront. This is what I have to the table. I have 2 kids. I have 2 different baby daddies. Are you okay with that? If not, it's okay. Be upfront.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid. Now,
Don't be
this is to
afraid.
the alphas aren't afraid.
No.
For women who are watching this, or men even, don't be afraid that when you're upfront and you're setting your boundaries, that this person is going to leave. Because if they leave, if you set those boundaries in the very beginning, your heart shouldn't be in it. If your heart is in it in the very beginning, then you're not ready for a relationship anyway, honey. You need to do some of your own personal work to make sure that you're healthy as you go into that relationship, or your situationship or whatever you're trying to build. But do not be afraid when you're setting those boundaries in the first or second day, because sometimes I'll tell you this, I'm not dating right now, but there are a couple of people that I have talked to, and they've said some things that I didn't appreciate, some things that were not conducive to my level of integrity. And that wasn't even a date. And I said, I don't know where this is going. my brother, Jeremy's my brother, I'll say, I don't know what's happening here. I don't feel safe. If we were face to face, I would have said that. But I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what your intentions are, but let me make this clear. These are my expectations. And that type of conversation should not happen until we're all the way down the road. Don't talk about moving. It's crazy because there's this fella. This is not the semi truck fella. This is a different fella. But there's this fella who said he was trying to take me out, and I was busy. And every time we were to meet up, something I canceled. Okay, I did. I was busy, or something came up. I just didn't want to go. Did multiple times, but we did talk on the phone quite a bit. And he said, "Well, there's a job that came up there for me to consider, and then it's going to come with this pay increase." And I said, "Oh, wait, pause, pumpkin. Do not relocate for me." Because when I say relocate, I mean, and so my friend, we were walking the walking bridge, and I did put him on speaker a little bit when nobody was looking except for her. And I said, listen to this. Can you believe this? And I said, my brother, and I'm a runner. I'm a track star normally. I'm working on that. I'm the one that you said one red flag and I'm out of there. Okay. This was safe because I never did really get to hang out that much with them. And we talked on the phone, and that was good enough for me. But after that, that scared me, because why is this? And so this wasn't the first conversation, first date or anything, but I wasn't ready for that. And we're not even exclusive. And you're talking about relocating. So when you set those boundaries in the very beginning, that will prevent stuff like that from happening. I wasn't even thinking along those lines because that wasn't anywhere near my space. But when they start saying things that you don't agree with, some things that goes against your values, against your morals, you got to speak up and you got to say something. Mm-hmm. And if they have a problem with it, your heart shouldn't be in it anyway that soon. Go ahead and move on. Go ahead and move on, because there's whoever God has for you, whoever your purpose to be with, this may not be your time to connect, but the time will come for you to connect with that one. And God he could have you in a space where you're getting healthy, you're getting socially healthy, you're getting emotionally healthy. He's preparing you for that person. So when you go into it, you're comfortable setting those boundaries. You're comfortable letting them know how to treat you. You're comfortable training them how to love you. So when the time comes for you to be a submissive or be that feminine woman in that alpha space, when you get home, instead of being the boss at work and boss at home, you can go right into that. And so you've got to set those boundaries, whether you're an alpha or not. You've got to set those boundaries. It's vital. It's vital.
Yeah, and let me say this, because while you were talking, I started thinking about people who had gotten out of long-term relationships or marriages. You have forgotten how to date because you've not been dating in terms of being single. So things have changed so much that you get a bad rap for dating, but there's a learning curve. So I'm going on dates, and I was so uncomfortable. It was like, and then meeting some of the people, I was like, these people have lost their minds because of the way that they approach. Everything was a one night stand. I'm like, what in the world? But the conversation was, I want to be with someone long term because they know how to manipulate, or they have learned to be to become all things. So you know how to camouflage who you are based upon who you're in front of. And so now you learn the game is totally different because all you did was make yourself available for me based upon what I've shared. And you've used that to paint an image of yourself that's not even who you are. Meanwhile, I'm trying to learn this thing real time. So there's a learning curve whenever you move from being married or in a long relationship to now that you're dating. And like you said, Dr. Hunter, you were at a phase where I've never seen this before, but I know it scares me. And so now you're now learning, okay, next time this is how I act, because I learned from John that he's just willing to relocate because of what I have going on. So it'd be money that he saves, he gets an increase. So you're trying to sell me on this increase, but you want to move in my space. I don't even know you. I don't know if you pick up your clothes, none of that. Yeah, exactly. And so that's why it's important to set those boundaries in the beginning. My first conversation, I'll tell you what, I'm very open. If I meet a female and she comes to my house, I will tell her up front. Let me tell you something. If a window gets busted, or my tire gets flat, the first person I'm coming to is you, because ain't nothing new in my life but you. And so if there's any drama from the moment that I've met you, just know I'm willing to see you, because these people are crazy. So you have to almost say, let me lay a solid foundation. I'm polished, but there's a side of me that will go there. And whoever you got in your background you want to bring with you, I'm willing to go to that space. But the good news is, if you don't do any of that, this will work perfect.
I think that's a whole show in itself. Cynthia, I'm gonna let you talk for
Girl, listen, everything he's saying, peace, first of all, peace is the priority.
Yes.
Peace is the priority. If I can't have peace in my home and in my relationship, it's not even worth it.
Exactly.
It's not even worth it. And I do agree with the dating after post-divorce. It definitely was, for me, it was like a culture shock. I was like, what's happening? But here's the other thing. When you are an alpha female, you have a lot going for yourself. You bring so much to the table. You attract everything. Everything. You know, from the bottom feeders, you know what I'm saying, to the alpha males, you know, who want to do everything with you. I mean, seriously. So we have to have a strong sense of discernment as well, you know, in the way we negotiate our relationship dynamics and the peace. That's been my number one non-negotiable since dating post-divorce.
That could be a whole show in and of itself, because we only have a couple more minutes. But I went into dating with the mentality of a wife. And I didn't know how to separate, because I'm so used to getting the dry cleaning, cooking dinner, taking care of this, taking care of that. Oh, we're dating? Okay, that's what we're going to do, because I was married 15 years. And that's what I knew. I knew how to be a mom. I know how to be a mom. I know how to be a wife. And the last person that I dated for a while, I said, I don't know how to be a girlfriend. I don't know how to be. So I said, I need to step back and learn how to do this, because I'm giving wife benefits to a man that deserves a friend, not even an exclusive partner. And so so I had to step back. That's why Brother Blake's is helping a sister, because I'm a wife and I don't know how to be, and I'm navigating through that. And I've been divorced for 7 years, but I'm still navigating through that, because for the first few years after my divorce, I focused on my kids, I focused on my career, focused on getting my degree. And then now I thought I was ready, but I'm going right back into wifey mode, and that is a turn off. Whether you're an alpha or not, that is a turn off. So I'm navigating through that now, because we could do a whole show on dating after divorce, for whatever reason. Dating after divorce, that could be a whole show. Ariana, did you have something that you want to add?
I have one more thing. I'll keep it short because of time. Divorcees can be the worst to date, only because you've been in the game for years, and when you get out, you have lost relationship skills. You don't know how to date, because I'm used to having a husband. I have a client that's a divorcee, and it's been hard dating, because men, they just want what he said. They come over, we knock the boot, and then she's back at home. You know, they look at them more of side chick material and not wife material. But it depends on what do you want? Are you a divorcee that wants to get remarried? Or you just want, a dating experience? Or I want a relationship, but if marriage is on the table, I'm open to it. It depends on what you want. And then once you figure out what you want, and then you go on the back end of that. But I do recommend, when you're single and you're dating, you need to be doing the independent thing for about 3 to 4 months. After that, you need to get in the game, because if you waste too much time, you're going to slowly lose relationship skills. And that's a lot that a lot of women have lost. Our men, because they have not been in the game. I do also recommend, if it makes sense to keep your husband at a certain age, keep your husband. Because
Wait a minute, what's the?
No.
Why do you say certain age? What now? I'm gonna learn. What? Certain age?
I have an insight. I have to make it comical a little bit, but I'm so serious. At a certain age, if it makes sense to keep them, just keep them, because once you're at a certain age, it's hard to date
pull.
sometimes, especially if you're deep in your femininity and your alpha stage, because some of these men, they don't want that. When we have the over 40 crew, they don't want that. Over 40 men, they're dating 30 and 20-year-olds. That's another problem. And then you feel like you're in competition because you're out in the field. You're in competition with the 20 and the 30-year-olds that's dating the same man that you want. You know, so that's another thing. So it's like you feel like she said, she's been divorced for a while. Doctor, you've been divorced for a while, and I know you felt like I got to start over, like I'm in competition with somebody that's younger than me, you know, and that's a problem. But like she said, God will place people in your life for a reason, and if you're a true believer, He will do that. Instead of rest in peace, Kevin Samuels believes there's no hope for you at a certain age, and you're die alone. I don't rock with that, because I got friends that's over 40 and they're married and they got men. So it's always a chance. There's always a man out there, and there's somebody for everybody. So I do not believe that.
Yeah.
So I teach
I don't know.
something
I mean,
different.
I feel like dating over 40 is actually been a fun time.
I believe it. I'm not there yet, but I have friends that are over 40 and they're dating and they're having more fun than the 20 and 30-year-olds.
I mean, yeah, we over, like, we like, okay, yeah, okay, we can roll with it. It's all, like, we get it.
We get it. We laid back. I'm late 30. We laid back. We cool. Here, baby, you want your plate? We know how to cook.
I can buy the bacon, cook it, and clean up the kitchen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we know how to be helpmates. And that's what alpha males want. We know how to be helpmates, you know, so there's always hope. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it has been amazing. I appreciate you all for your time this evening. I did want to talk about the difference between high value. I'm sorry. The difference between an alpha male or female and narcissism, because they kind of look the same, but they're completely different. But we didn't get to that point. But I appreciate y'all for your time. I will not lose my confidence in being able to find someone, or being found at this age over 40 and after being a divorcee. I'm going to lighten the load of the wifey side of me, so I can, maybe I need to get you as my relationship coach, Ariana.
Yeah, and would you recommend somebody younger?
I don't know about that. I was thinking somebody in their 50s.
See, and that's funny because I only date men over 40 and 50.
Wait a minute, what?
So I got to be with somebody.
Jeremy's like, I got to meet this girl. I do, and I'm 32, and I like my older men, and I'm gonna tell you why. Yeah. They're already in their purpose. They know what they want. They don't waste time. If I want sex from you, I'm gonna let you know, sweetheart. If I want a relationship, if I see you as a wife, I'm gonna let you know. A man only needs about 3 to 6 months to figure out if she's gonna be his wife or not. They don't waste a lot of time. So I need someone that don't want to waste time, because I'm single and I want to be someone's wife one day. God has prepared me to be a wife. Yeah. So dating younger men, I'm not knocking. If you're watching, I'm not knocking you. Live your purpose. But when you go up a little older, they know what they want. And I have the mindset set for that type of man. That's why I date older. And I recommend women, if you're 30, get you a 40-year-old. If you're 40, get you a 50-year-old. We need someone to look up to. I really can't look up to a man that's the same age as me, because we're but I know, but you know, it's tick for tat. You know, I have content about tit for tat. It's another thing, but I want to learn from you. You should be able to learn from your man as he can learn from you. It's a cause and effect, supply and demand in this game of love.
Yeah.
I have nothing for
You finally won Cynthia over, I believe. You finally won her over. It wasn't going well at the beginning, boy, but then
Yeah, we gotta have a whole nother conversation.
I know. I'm gonna have to have y'all back for that, and life after divorce. So
Yes.
I appreciate you all for your time this evening, and we're gonna go ahead and sign off because we are 5 minutes late. Thank you for your expertise. Thank you for speaking to the audience, and thank you for your vulnerability tonight and your confidence in speaking your truth about where you are being an alpha male or female. I appreciate y'all. Have a wonderful evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, princesses, and peasants. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Dr. Hunter.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.